Welcome, Dr. Godia. Welcome, Dr. Godia.
I'm mute.
Yes, I'm just
Now
opening my PPT.
I was muted. I was not able to unmute myself.
Yes,
So
same here.
are you all? Yeah. So are you okay now? Can you just share your screen and see if you're comfortable in your?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, just try that. Just try.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Dr. Godia, would you want us to share the screen for you?
I would like to learn this.
Sure.
So let me try.
All right.
Yeah. So, is this fine? Is this fine?
Yes, it's fine. Absolutely.
So should I retain this screen or should I stop sharing right now?
No, stop sharing. Stop sharing. Let people come.
Sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you tell me when to share. So Sujata, many happy returns of the day.
Thank you. Yes.
So happy to be around here.
I'm in a webinar right now. May I know who's calling?
Hi Apurva, how are you?
Sorry. Regarding?
No mask?
Oh, what happened to Sonal?
Full chair if I raise this, then
okay, all right.
I want to move near BN side.
Sure.
Sure, listen me in the head ka wo ta mat listen me nahane kan to listen.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Cha. So Anya bhi can listen me. Huh?
Okay.
So I'm unmuted and my video is on.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
How many people have registered?
I don't know. I don't see anybody right now. Betty? I don't know. There are some on the YouTube platform, Meena?
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know yet. How many have registered? I don't know. I was told 200 plus. Now let's see how many show up.
Yes. It's a rainy day today.
Yes. Yes, it's a
And
rainy
Ram
day. People want to
Janmabhoomi,
sleep
Ram
after lunch.
Janmabhoomi. Huh?
And yeah, people are watching Ram Janmabhoomi. Yes,
That's what
yes,
I'm
that's a big
saying. So
event.
my friends, some of them said we are watching that on TV. So
Ah,
then they did
I
not.
know. True, true, true. Very true.
Ma'am, we're already live on YouTube.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Thank you.
Panchika ma'am?
Rakhi.
Yeah, Panchikar ma'am is there, but we need to have people, right?
Yeah, there are people waiting. So once we are ready, we'll let
So we
everybody
still
know.
have about 5-6 minutes.
Yes.
So maybe you can start letting them in. What do
Yeah,
you
start
think?
letting them
Yes,
in.
ma'am.
Start letting them in. There is no
Yeah,
problem.
ma'am. I will
Yeah.
just some settings and
Yeah, sure.
Why can't my full thing self be seen? What is the
I can see
adjustment
you
here?
absolutely fine. No, I can see you very well.
So should I leave it like this only?
Yeah, you are absolutely fine. I can see like half of your upper part, so it's absolutely fine. You're looking lovely.
Thanks. Relaxing at home.
Yes.
We are live.
Yes. I can see Rekha there. Yes.
I happy to be with all of you.
Yes, same here. Okay.
Rekha Godia is there.
ओके झालं या
Hello, everybody. We will be starting in another 2 to 3 minutes time. Right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Professional Development Buffet for Professionals. This is our fifth seminar in the series, or fifth webinar in the series, rather. And we're very happy to see many familiar faces here. Our resource person for today, Dr. Meena Godia, has joined us already. So I'll hand over, before I hand over the proceedings to my colleague, Mrs. Apurva Panshikar, Assistant Professor, Department of Special Education, SNDT Women's University. Couple of things that I would like to request from everyone. Please ensure that your mics remain mute through the entire webinar. Any questions, comments you may have, you can please post in the chat. One request, please do not keep sending your greetings. We're aware of your presence and we're grateful for that. But the chats can be, be interrupting to the whole process. So please retain the chats only for the purpose of your questions and your queries. We would also suggest that you keep your videos off to ensure the stability of the streaming process. At the end of the webinar, we will of course have our group photograph, and yeah, then we would request that everybody switches on their video cameras at that point of time. Also, we would thank our co-hosts and our outreach partners, Teachers Help Teachers. As you may be aware, it is a platform for teachers and by the teachers. So they do a lot of teacher training programs, teacher training workshops, and make available a lot of resources for teachers to use in their daily classrooms and other work. And they are a strong community for the teachers, by the teachers. So do check them out on their website. Thank you, Raki, for being our partners for this series of webinars. Mrs. Panshikar, over to you.
Thank you, Betty. So dear participants, it is my extreme privilege to introduce to you our resource person for today, Dr. Meena Godia. Dr. Godia has been a committed academician and a research guide with 29 years of teaching experience. She's a former associate professor at SVT College of Home Science, SNDT Women's University. She specializes in food science, nutrition and dietetics, community nutrition and sports nutrition. As an academician, she has guided PhD scholars and students of MSc and the PG diploma programs. Dr. Godia has more than 20 research publications to her credit, along with one international book publication. She is also a member of the editorial board of a research journal and an expert panelist and a resource person for many educational institutions across India. Apart from being an academician, she has been an educational administrator, having donned the hats of the head of the department at SPT College of Home Science, being the vice principal and the in-charge vice principal of SPT College. At present, she is the president and founder member of Association of Sports Science Nutrition and Fitness Science. This is an organization which is involved in coordinating activities like planning courses, webinars, and conferences. Dr. Godia, I extend my warm welcome to you and request you to please take the stage and talk to us about combating COVID-19, the nutritionist perspective. Welcome, ma'am. Handing over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Meena Godia, for accepting our invitation. Really looking forward to listening to this and hammering it down our head, because this is something we take for granted, particularly a person like me. I'm always very casual about what we need to eat. We should be careful, but this is a time which is really a very trying time. So I think we ought to listen to an expert and follow your advice to the T. Thank you so much. Stage is yours. Has she frozen? Looks like she's frozen. Yeah. We've lost her, right?
Yes. She'll join back in a few minutes.
Yeah. Just give her a moment. Give her a moment.
She's joined back.
Yes, there she is. Welcome back, Dr. Godia.
Yes. Okay, good afternoon, all of you. On the onset, I would like to thank Dr. Sujata Ban and her wonderful team for putting up a platter, a buffet of very interesting webinars. And thank you so much for selecting nutrition as one of the items in the buffet. As you all know, as foods, nutrition, and dietetic specialists, a buffet cannot be complete without food. So here I am going to be speaking to you about combating COVID-19 perspective of a nutritionist. Am I audible?
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Very clear.
So I can continue.
Yes.
So let's begin the webinar today. On the onset, considering the difficult times we all are going through, we would like to all thank our front runners, which includes all your doctors, nurses, the truck drivers, the grocery employers, not to forget your bajiwalas as well as your fruit palas who are there risking themselves and being
interruption,
there
ma'am.
available to us.
We're unable to see your presentation.
No, you're not able to. 1 minute.
No, ma'am.
Now?
Not yet.
Would you like to play it?
Sure, we can. Yukti, ma'am. The presentation is just loading up, ma'am. Here we are.
Okay, bye. So she's sharing it for you.
Ma'am, your presentation's on the screen now.
Yes. I just start.
Ma'am, we've shared the screen for you.
Yeah, you can change the screen.
Yeah, it's already share. It's already showing, ma'am.
Yeah, so go on to the next screen, please.
Yukti, ma'am.
Okay, so as I rightly said that we are going through a current very difficult phase, and I think I would like to begin by thanking all the front runners who have been here and helping us and working for us all throughout very hard. So let's begin with the presentation. May I request you to put the next slide, please? So it is indeed a very, very important topic that the department has thought of conducting a webinar on, because as you all know, it is something which is affecting our health. It is affecting our resistance to diseases. So this is a very interesting subject, and I'm sure you will all learn something from the webinar today. So let me begin by telling, as you all know, that COVID-19 is an acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. Please note it is virus 2. And there is no medicine for COVID-19, as we all know, and it is crucial to take preventive measures to boost immunity in these times. Now, SARS-CoV-2 virus has been attacking people with compromised immunity. Next, thank you. Next screen. So as we know, this infection is very severe, going through 3 stages, beginning with a mild, moderate to a severe case. And the beginning symptoms are always, it begins with fever, there is loss of smell, there is loss of taste, there is running nose, throat irritation, there is cough with a lot of phlegm, there's difficulty in breathing, there is muscle pain, tiredness, and diarrhea. So why am I saying this to you? This is to just help you understand that this virus is affecting the respiratory tract. So it's affecting the lungs, it's affecting the lungs, and therefore, you know, we have to take care and ensure that we are immune, or we build up our immunity to prevent the infection occurring to us. Next, please. Next, please. Okay, so who are the people at risk of getting this infection? Let me tell you, at any age, it is always the people who are already having lung diseases, that's the pulmonary disease, who are at a higher risk with at whatever age. So whether they are young, old, you know, if they already have the pulmonary disease, that's the chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, they are at a higher risk. The second very important risk factor is obesity. Now, when I say obesity, obesity is defined as having more than 20% of your ideal body weight, or those who have a BMI of 30 or higher. Now, when you are obese, coming along with it could be the comorbidities such as heart conditions, kidney diseases, diabetes, etc. So if anyone having any of these conditions, the risk to get this infection is much more higher. Next, please. Now, what has this pandemic done to all of us? As we are aware, it has badly affected our lifestyles. All the way we think, the way we eat, the way we do things, the way we are work from home, it has really affected lifestyles big way. Similarly, it has affected the healthcare systems, both the national and global economies. So it is an infection which is hitting hard across the globe. Coming along with it is social isolation. As Amitabh Bachchan also said that, you know, staying in an isolation ward, not having to look at a human being for 14 days, living in isolation and only seeing the medical staff attending to you with the PPE is itself a very, very unpleasant experience. So it carries with it a lot of mental stress, the social isolation. So besides this, it is also having psychological and emotional symptoms. There are changes in the mood, altered sleep or eating patterns, which worsens the chronic health conditions and hence also leads to weight gain. In some, it may push them towards the use of tobacco, drugs, alcohol, etc. Next. So what is the role of optimum nutrition? So what is it that we are actually looking at today's presentation? So role of nutrition is that it can improve the well-being, it can mitigate or decrease the risk and control chronic diseases, helps in regulation of sleep and mood, and prevent fatigue. The presentation today will be addressing all these issues, and most of all, it modulates the immune system across the age spectrum, and that is what we all have to target. We have to target at a very strong immune system. Next, please. So what is the role of nutrition? Why are we talking about nutrition? Considering the pandemic and considering that we are all locked up in our homes, there is a limited access to fresh foods, and also therefore, which is increasing the consumption of highly processed foods. And as we all know, processed foods are high in fats, sugars, and salt. Now, all this is leading to unmindful eating, uncontrolled portion size. Please understand, uncontrolled portion size, emotional eating out of the anxieties, fear, and the uncertainties which we are facing at large. As today's Times of India said, that the new word which they have coined is the worried wellness. You may be well, you may not be suffering from corona, but yes, you are worried. So all of us are having different mental challenges which we have facing right now considering the present condition. Next, please. So what to eat each day? Now I will spend a minute on this screen. I want you to carefully look at the plate which is there in front of you. And if you can notice, half the plate is fruits and vegetables. Let us appreciate the color, the red of the tomatoes, the yellow of the lemons, the greens of the dark green leafy vegetables, the yellow-orange papaya, the reds of the pomegranates, the orange of the carrot. What is this plate trying to tell us? Now, a healthy plate is one which is having at least 5 to 6 servings per day of fruits and vegetables. The emphasis, dear friends, is on fresh fruits and vegetables. I want you to look now at the next group, which is the cereals and the nutricals. Now, when you're looking at the cereals, like yesteryears is no more eating rice and wheat. Today, we are talking about all the millets, that's the jawari, the bajra, the ragi, which has to be consumed in our daily lives. So this is very important because millets are supposed to be very healthy. So besides your white rice, which can easily be converted into a brown rice, you do have ragi flour, you have the jawari flour, you have bakris to consume, which is very healthy. Also, we have to bring in a lot of protein in our diet because it helps in building up our immunity. So it's pulses, eggs, flesh foods for the non-vegetarians. And the group which I feel is most commonly ignored is the nuts and the seeds group. As we go along with the presentation, I am going to be relating to you the sources, what contains which nutrients, and therefore how much of it to be taken. Please see the cup of milk outside, the cup of milk every day, very important. And if you have curds, it is rich in probiotics. Next, please. So what you saw is a plate which is meant for an adult and which is supplying 2000 calories. But individuals who are trying to reduce weight may need to cut down on cereal intake. That means your chapatis, rice, etc. should be controlled in order to help you lose weight. All raw fruits and vegetables should be thoroughly washed before cutting or peeling, which is very important as I will be explaining as we go by. Next, please. So what are the nutritional guidelines which we have to follow? A, make a plan. There should be no panic buying as we understand everything is available, whether it is delivered at home, or whether you just go across and pick up your fruits and vegetables. Be strategic about the use of ingredients. You have to prioritize fresh products. And if they are not available, only then you opt for frozen vegetables and fruits. Prepare home cooked meal. I'm sure each one of us here is missing our eating out, but we are doing a lot of good by eating home cooked ghar ka khana with a lot of love and affection. Enjoy family meal. Be aware of the portion size. I keep repeating portion size. How much you eat at one sitting, very important. Consume enough fiber, and as we know, fruits and vegetables will be giving you a lot of fiber. Limit salt, sugar, and fat, and of course, stay well hydrated. In the good old days, the dietitians only used to speak about carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals. But today, dietitians even talk to the clients about drinking enough water. A lot of diseases can be controlled by staying well hydrated. Next, please. So what is it that we need to do to build up in our immunity using diets? As I rightly said, fruits and vegetables. At least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. The American Dietetic Association suggests 7 servings or more fruits and vegetables. They not only end up giving you vitamins and minerals, but it also gives you important nutrients and functional ingredients which it contains. Even when you look at zinc and selenium, they are very important for immune system. I'm going to be using these words again so that you know what are the sources and how it is going to build up immunity. And of course, instead of having processed foods, your whole grain foods and protein rich foods are your must in your diet. Water and dietary fiber. Next, please. So what are these immunity boosting foods? I want you to look carefully to every box which is there. Now, when you're looking at vitamin C, it's present in your grapes, the amla, which is the richest source, the orange, the lemons, the sweet limes, the guava. And what do you think is the role of vitamin C? Vitamin C is an antioxidant. It increases the production of WBCs. So friends, we all know WBCs are our fighter cells, which help you fight against the virus. So including these on our daily basis is very important. And I think, you could be incorporating this. Even a glass of limbu pani would be good. Eating sweet limes also would be good. Next, we look at yogurt and curd. Milk contains vitamin D, calcium, and they are very important sources of probiotic. Green tea. Green tea is a antioxidant, and it also has the ability to fight the germs. Then we look at spices and herbs. That's ginger, garlic, basil, turmeric, cumin, coriander. So your Ayur app will always be telling you about the importance of consuming, whether it is adrak, lasan, tulsi pan, haldi, okay, the cumin, that's the jeera, and the coriander seeds. I'm going to be speaking ahead about what is the role of each one and how much to incorporate in our diet. Similarly, you also have your dark green colored vegetables, the yellow orange colored fruits and vegetables, which will be a source of vitamin A and vitamin C. Nuts and oilseeds is a group which I wish that you pay special attention to. So when you're looking at almonds, which is badam, it's a rich source of vitamin E, which is an antioxidant and contains healthy fat. Similarly, sunflower seeds, they are good sources of vitamin E, phosphorus, magnesium, vitamin B6. Similarly, poultry and shellfish also give you zinc. Next, please. Okay, so after having understood the basics of the diet, let us understand what are the conditions where COVID is going to be playing a major role. Now, I don't know whether you understand the first sentence, the significant inverse correlation between BMI and age. If there are young adults who are obese, they are more likely to be suffering or contracting COVID-19. So the younger the age, but more obese or more fatter you are, the more is the risk to getting COVID. What happens with obesity? Obesity restricts respiration, weakens the immune responses, and is pro-inflammatory. It also increases the risk of diabetes, mellitus, CVD, and kidney diseases. There has been enough research to show that a diabetic patient is more vulnerable to pneumonia. As I'm going to be speaking, I'm going to be explaining this in greater detail. So what is the answer to the obese person? It is very important to lose weight, but it has to be a gradual weight loss without compromising the body's lean muscle. By body's lean muscle, I mean the muscle of the body. That is, the fat component of the body has to be lost, not the muscle. Otherwise, you will feel weak. And hence, we recommend a gradual weight loss. Next, please. Now, this screen has been specifically put here to help you understand why obesity and COVID is so related. Now, obesity will downregulate your immune system. It causes inflammation. It also is associated with comorbidities. It is associated with vitamin D deficiency, which I will explain as we go by. But most important of all, what I wish to tell all of you is adipose tissue is the reservoir for virus. That means the virus is going and depositing itself in the adipose tissue. That is, your charbhi, the fat which is there in the subcutaneous tissue around the organs. So in the subcutaneous tissues, this virus is going to be making an entry and staying there. Next, please. So let me just go into a little more technical detail, but I'm trying to explain to you what it is. So there is an enzyme which is called as the angiotensin converting enzyme 2. Now, angiotensin and converting enzyme is present in circulatory system, it's present in the kidneys, it is present in the lungs, the heart, and the brain. Every organ in our body has got this enzyme, but the culprit is ACE2. You'll be surprised to know that this ACE2, that is the angiotensin converting enzyme, binds very firmly with the spike glycoprotein of the virus. I'm sure you must have seen the picture of the virus. The virus has got spikes over it. Now, the affinity of ACE with this spike protein is 20 times higher, and therefore it can easily enter any of the organs, that's the kidney or the lung, and lead to an organ failure. So this enzyme is to be blamed because it captures the virus and allows it to come inside the organ, thereby causing the organ damage and thereby leading to an organ dysfunction. Next, please. So what are the pre-existing conditions and COVID? Let me tell you that people who are older are at a higher risk to develop this infection. And older people, as we all know, are the ones who have more of polymorbidities. That is, they will be having diabetes, etc. So therefore, the risk is going to be more. What I wish to emphasize is, look at the number. 1 in 3 of all adults suffering from multiple chronic conditions would be, an old person, which is a global burden in itself. So worldwide, older people are at a higher risk, as we understand. So therefore, they have to be, adequately taken care of. Next, please. So I'm just introducing you to this term metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome, don't worry about this term, as the word syndrome is an cluster of conditions. So if a person is having a diabetes and a cardiovascular disease and a liver disease and dyslipidemia, that is the lipid profile is not proper, and fatty liver, etc. Such a condition, if a person has any two or more of these conditions, it is classified as metabolic syndrome And if a person is having metabolic syndrome, obviously the risk to COVID infection is very high. Next, please. So after having understood who are the people at the risk and what should be a diet, let's address this issue of how to cook and how to have a safe food home. So first of all, keep food clean. Hygiene, very important. We all talk of sanitization, kitchen sanitization, very important. Very important for us to appreciate is to separate raw and cooked foods. So when you look at the greens of the palak and if you see the matti which is there, the mud which is there at the base, at the roots of the dhania, coriander leaves or the palak leaves, now this is loaded with microorganisms. Similarly, raw meat. Raw meat is also having a lot of live microorganisms and therefore we have to learn to separate the raw food and the cooked foods. You have to cook the food thoroughly. As we all know, by cooking the food, the pathogen gets destroyed and therefore the food is made safe. Keep food at safe temperatures. Now here I would like to emphasize that when you are thawing food, removing the food from the freezer, instead of putting it directly at the room temperature, the chances of the microbial contamination and growth will be higher. The best thing would be to remove out from the freezer well in time, keep it in the fridge till it comes at a lower temperature, after which you remove and keep it at room temperature so that it is absolutely safe for consumption. Use safe water and raw materials, ensure that you clean them well. And fortunately for us, the virus has not been detected in drinking water. Next, please. So here is a depiction of what is the food safety advice that we give. As we know, wash raw fruits and vegetables. There are a lot of washes, vegetable fruit washes also available in the market. Cook the meat well, stay hydrated, avoid sharing food utensils, water bottles and cups. Very important because as we know, it is the respiratory tract which is, is affected. Clean surfaces as tables with your mops and antibacterial bleach so that it is clean. Always use a different chopping boards and knives for the raw meat as well as the cooked food. So please keep them carefully and separately. Eat foods which are rich in vitamin C to boost your immune system. Next, please. So now, after having understood the safety of the food, supposing if the person has already contracted the virus, so what are the recovery efforts that we do as nutritionists? Next, please. So such a person who is going to be hospitalized, the dietitians there will have to check the malnutrition. We have different scales by which the malnutrition is tested. Also, we need to optimize the nutritional status. That means if there is some kind of a counseling, a diet counseling which need to be done, since there's lack of appetite, the dietitians will need to encourage the patient to eat. So that is optimization of nutritional status with timely nutritional guidance and advice. Supplementation of vitamins and minerals. As we understand, these patients are likely to be malnourished and therefore they will be deficient in vitamins and minerals. So we have to ensure that supplements are provided, regular physical activity as and when possible. And then the last thing that they do in the hospital is the oral nutrition supplements. By oral nutrition supplements, I mean ready-made formulas which are available, which can be combined with milk or water and given. Such supplements are high in calories and very high in protein, which helps to meet the additional requirements and helps the malnourishment to be improved. Next, please. So what is a recovery diet all about? So recovery diet, of course, has to be adequate in macro, micronutrients, ensure that there is protein adequacy, fluid adequacy. Since the patient is having loss of appetite and fever, you may have to begin with a liquid and a soft diet so that they can accept it willingly. Now, vitamin D is one very important vitamin which is associated with the infection. Now, what they do is we have to check our vitamin D status. If you are falling within the range, it's okay. But if you are lower, then immediately you have to start with vitamin D supplements. As we all know, diarrhea is one of the most important symptoms added on to the list of the symptoms. And this diarrhea somewhere is affecting the intestinal lining. And let me tell you, friends, pro and prebiotics are the ones which will help to restore your intestinal dysfunction. Very important for all of us to include pre and probiotics in the diet. Similarly, immune boosting nutrients, which I'll be explaining as we go by, are also playing a very important role. Similarly, the non-nutritional advice would be steaming, as we all know, warm gargles, nasal irrigation, which may give relief. Next, please. Besides this, pay attention to your omega-3 fatty acids, which is anti-inflammatory, the use of haldi, that's turmeric, and lime, which is limbu. Garlic has to be incorporated in the recipes. Plenty of flavonoids with green teas, soups, vegetable purees, fruits can be used. Similarly, there are natural antivirals, your herbal tea. How many times you have all said, okay, I'm having a shardi, let me have herbal chai, adrak wali chai. So teas with cloves, the neem, the tulsi, all this is going to be very useful, helps to clear chest congestion. Similarly, if there are elderly, we have to monitor their blood glucose as well as their blood pressures regularly. Next, please. So what is it in store for the pregnant women? Pregnant women, again, we emphasize on a lot of vegetables. For the pregnant women, her nutritional needs are more. So we talk of mini meals, that is the meals taken in between the meal times. This essentially has to be nutrient dense. It cannot be processed. It has to be very natural and nutrient dense products that they eat. Keep hydrated. Drink before you feel super thirsty. That's very important for all of you. I don't know how many of you have kept a glass of water next to you while you're listening to me. Kindly keep sipping 50 to 100 ml every half an hour so that you do not become dehydrated. Of course, we tell them to relax, we tell them to sleep, we tell them to listen to music, meditation, and exercise, but taking care of social distancing rules. Next, please. So what is it for the kids? Very important. I understand that there are teachers in this group. So you or not only take care of your children at home, but also the school children. So here again, use fresh vegetables. Very, very important advice, which I would like to give is build up a stock of healthy snacks. That's your nuts, cheese, yogurt preferably unsweetened one, chopped or dried fruits, very important, boiled eggs. I always tell everybody to have a small dabba with your dry fruits in it and carry it wherever you go. If you feel hungry, if that's handy, have that. Same way, keep such a dabba with your kids so that when they're hungry, they can munch on the nuts, which is so important. Limit highly processed foods. Very, very important besides what you eat is making, cooking, and eating a fun and meaningful part. Very important. Involve your children in food preparation. In the nurseries, we do that for the children. Similarly, at home also, like washing vegetables, sorting the vegetables, setting the table. These are some of the tasks which the children can be involved at home so that they create interest and a lot of learning happens while they participate along with the family members in all of these. Next, please. What about the elderly? The elderlies are the ones with comorbidities and therefore you have to take special caution. So look at the list which is written for the elderly. So it's beginning with calcium and vitamin D. So very important to ensure that your levels of vitamin D are adequate. Reduce the intake of sweets, fried or high fat foods. Now what happens is Considering an old person, there is poor dentition. So instead of opting for a roti or a soft fulka, they would prefer to have a pastry, which is so easy to eat. So we have to ensure that they go low on their sweets and highly fried foods, which may be tempting, may be easy to chew, but should not be consumed. Consume small, frequent meals, easily digestible foods so that they do not end up having a diarrhea. Consume milk, milk products, fortified staples, fresh fruits and vegetables. Next. So let us summarize, and this is a very important and a very good screen. I think you will all like this screen. So when you're looking at the healthy heart, I'm summarizing here for you. So fresh fruits and vegetables, nuts, healthy fats, which I will be again coming to, low fat dairy sources, not malai maar ke doodh, it's low fat dairy sources, lean meat, whole grains, not processed grains, adequate hydration. If all this is included in the diet, you can see the negative signs. So there is less risk of hypertension, diabetes, obesity. There will be less loss of muscle mass. And of course, the immune system impairment will not be there. That means it will be a strong immune system. But at the same time, if your diet is not able to meet the requirements for zinc, selenium, vitamin C, and vitamin D, then supplements have to be given. At the same time, good hygiene practices, as I explained to you, will also keep COVID at bay. Next, please. So what is the nutritional advice which we offer to individuals in quarantine during COVID-19? So we talked to them about vitamins, minerals, probiotics, antioxidants, and active ingredients in herbs and are potent nutrients. So I'm going to be talking to you a little bit on each one of this. The aim is to strengthen immunity and prevent disease. Next. So what are the ways to boost immunity? So this is the part which I think you'll be all looking forward to. So you have immunonutrients, you have the immunity boosting foods, then there is supplementation for people who are deficient of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, which may be required as well. Next, please. So let's look at fat and immunity. Fat, very important. Pay attention to the first sentence. Saturated fat favors inflammation. Now, when I say saturated fat, I mean all fats which are solid at room temperature, which is ghee and butter. Please note the word high. Now, small intakes are required. A teaspoon or 7 grams of ghee or butter per day is fine. But high intakes, fatty foods, pastries, ice creams will lead to low-grade inflammation. But which are the good fats? Among this, you have the MUFA and the PUFA, which favor immune modulation. That means it builds up your immunity. And then the best of all is the omega-3. Omega-3 is known to support immune system. It helps to build up immunity big time. I would recommend each one of you to ensure that you have sources of omega-3 every day in your diet, which is very important. So all your seafood, that is the fatty fishes which are available, the algal oil, some of this would be available in the form of capsules, the marine fish capsules, the omega-3 capsules. Flax seed is an excellent source. 2 teaspoons of flax seeds every morning, very important to meet your omega-3. Besides, walnuts, which I have not written, could also be 2 to 3 walnuts per day is the need to meet your omega-3 requirements. Similarly, you have the omega-9 monounsaturated fatty acids. Please understand that it is present in olive oil, sunflower oil, and safflower oil. Please note nuts. So the healthy fat is present in the nuts. So olive oil, so no one oil is the bestest oil. One has to use combination of oil to get a correct balance of unsaturated MUFA and PUFA. MUFA is mono unsaturated fatty acids and PUFA is polyunsaturated fatty acids. A balance of this is very important. Next, please. So what are the micronutrients and what is their role in immune function? So when you're looking at A, C, D, E, B6, B12, zinc, they are very important in our body to build up our immunity, both the innate and the adaptive immunity. Now, what do these nutrients do? Now, understand these nutrients work as physical barriers. Whose are barriers? A barrier, you can imagine, is like a security guard at the gate of a building. It will prevent the entry of people who are not wanted. So if your cellular linings are stable, they're not broken, they are, in good form, then in that case, the entry of the virus is prevented. So these nutrients help to build up the structural and functional integrity. Please note respiratory tract lining. So they work as security guards and prevent the entry of the virus. So that's so good. So we have to ensure that we are in good balance of these nutrients. So besides this, they also help your body in the synthesis of T and B cells. In case if you have an infection, the body has to fight. How will it fight? It synthesizes what is called as the T and the B cells. And these are your fighter cells. And that is why you need all these nutrients. Similarly, zinc antimicrobial activity, some of them will also kill the pathogens, as I will be explaining as we go by. Next. So vitamin C, very important. It's an antioxidant nutrient. It enhances chemotaxis, that is the killing of the pathogen which is entered. Phagocytosis is engulfing the pathogens. And also we are constantly under free radical attack. So it also helps to, minimize the effect of the free radical. The free radical damage is prevented. And please note, vitamin C is also killing the pathogens. Now, vitamin D, there is a strong association which is coming up with vitamin D and its role in reduction in pulmonary infections. Vitamin D, very important nutrient. I don't think I'll be, explaining mechanisms will take a lot of time. So I think I will not explain the mechanisms, but I hope you understood vitamin D related to pulmonary infection deficiency. So one has to ensure that you're doing good. So I suggest that you all get your vitamin D status checked and ensure that your immunity is boosted. Next, please. Zinc and selenium, they are micronutrients because they're required in smaller amounts. We call them micronutrients. AO is antioxidant micronutrients. Now, zinc, if the person is found to be deficient, then the doctors would recommend the multivitamin mineral supplementation. The dosage required is about 30 milligrams per day. It also, when you're looking at zinc and selenium, both have mechanisms by which they helps to reduce the oxidative stress in the body and protects and helps build the host immune system. Next. Probiotics is your dahi, lassis, yogurts, yeah. Now they are live microorganisms. Today, a lot is being said about the gut microbiome. I'm sure you must have heard about the word gut microbiome. Now, we have to, in order to be healthy, we need to have very important, important microorganisms such as lactobacillus, bifidobacteria in the gut to keep it healthy and to improve the immune function. So fermented dairy products improve the gut microbiota. A lot of work is happening in this area, and it is supposed to be doing good. The day you have diarrhea, will you opt for a milk or a dahi? Obviously, you will opt for a buttermilk, a chas, or a dahi. Why? Because it's got the live microorganisms, which will protect the body against the pathogen, the disease-causing microorganism, which may have entered the gut. Next, please. This is a list, very much liked by all. And I want you to only pay attention to the last column, which is the dosage. In order to give you the benefit, how much you need to take, that is very important. If you don't take at least the dosage which is given there, then you will not get the benefit. So your adrak wali chai, so in a day, it's half an inch square per day. This is the minimum which you need to take in order to get the benefit. And as we all know, all these nutrients somewhere are doing good to your respiratory system. The day you have a cold or you have a cough, you will opt for a adrak wali chai, herbal tea. So it is doing good. And as we know, COVID also is affecting the respiratory system. So I think we have to emphasize on taking herbal tea, which is, having ginger, a lot of ginger in it. Coconut oil, virgin coconut oil is available. A teaspoon per day is commonly consumed and it is supposed to be offering protection to the host, that is to the person, against pathogens. Next. Next, please. Look at the tulsi patta and look at the number. So it's like 15 to 20 leaves per day. If that is the dosage which is required to do you good, to do you benefit. So tulsi, you have to take 15 to 20 leaves per day. You may add it in your chai or chew it, whatever. That is what will help increasing the T cells and the natural killer cells, as the word indicate, natural killer cells. They will kill the virus and thereby protect us from diseases. Hing, we all know, for gas, anti-flatulent. For the gas, the medical word is flatulence. So, is required. Please note, it is also antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory agent in the body. The active components are written there. I think that's difficult. So we'll just rest it there. Next, please. Next, please. So ajwain, 1 teaspoon per day. Ajwain, very important. How many of us know that ajwain is something which will clear your nasal passage? So ajwain, 1 teaspoon per day. Yeah. And also, if you do the fermentation, helps to relieve the congestion in the chest, helps to clear the mucus which is there, and thereby relieve you of the cough. So ajwain, 1 teaspoon. It can easily be added in your dough. When you're making your rotis, add 1 teaspoon of ajwain, so that will meet the purpose. Cinnamon, a lot of research saying cinnamon very beneficial even for diabetic patients. Let's check out the dose. The dose is half an inch square piece per day. That is the requirement in order to give you the benefit. Please look the it's the antibacterial, antiviral, antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory. So, cinnamon, these days, cinnamon powder, ready-made powder is also available. You could be adding cinnamon powder to your soups as well. So, that's the way. Your pulavs, they contain your whole spices, but you could be even putting it in your tea, cinnamon powder in your tea, or while boiling, add the whole cinnamon. So half-inch square piece per day is what is the requirement. Next, please. Pepper. Pepper, the important bioactive component is quercetin. 1/4 teaspoon per day, again, very important for your cough, cold, congestion. Garlic. Garlic is anti-parasitic. It helps to relieve the infections, the viral and the fungal infection. Please note the second line. It is known to kill influenza virus. 4 to 5 pots per day minimum is what is required, which we, I think as the Indian cookery always makes use of the adrak, garlic, chili paste, which I think is the right tradition which we are following. And so we have to continue following that. Next. So having looked into the immunonutrients, the kind of a diet, What is the role of stress and anxiety? So stress turn all of us into emotional eaters. We mindlessly munch. We distract ourselves by eating food and we lose track of our appetite. We don't know how much we're eating. That's where I kept saying portion size control. So when we turn to comfort foods, these comfort foods happen to be rich in all the sugar, fat, and the salt. And this is also comfort foods is also like having a craving for the sweet food. So unmindful eating, uncontrolled portion size, emotional eating is what's happening to us because of our uncertainties which we are facing, the fears and the anxieties. Next. So let me explain the process to you. So what happens when we are stressed? All of us know that the stress hormone is cortisol. So when you are stressed, the hormone cortisol is released and then we binge eat. When we binge eat, serotonin and dopamine, these are neurotransmitters are released. I want you to remember the words serotonin and dopamine. These are very important neurotransmitters which are released. So when the body is having serotonin and dopamine in the blood, you feel temporary relief. Look at the smiley, you are feeling happy. But after a while, serotonin and dopamine wears off. What happens then? There you are feeling guilty. And what happens? Guilt triggers more stress. And there it's a cycle. So when you're looking at unmindful eating, this is how stress drives you towards, poor control of portion size. Next, please. So what do we do? Mindful eating. Mindful eating is the way out. Okay, so you have to cook and eat in a good mood. Very important to keep ourselves in good mood and eat in good mood. Respect your body. Listen to and relax with music. Don't eat straight from the package. Very important. You don't know where to stop then. Take small bites. Look at that pizza piece. You can't be finishing it in 1 or 2 bites. Look at the small bite size. Eat without gadgets. This is so important. I know we all have our mobile phones next to it, but I think somewhere we have to take care of our health. Always sit down and eat and feed savoy. Enjoy the food. You have to get that feeling of feeling nice while you're eating the food and loving the food. So you have to enjoy the food that you're eating. Next. Next, please. Another way of depicting the same thing, so mindful eating would be enjoy the experience, question what you eat, avoid distractions, sit at the table, very important. How many of us always in a hurry, just stand, munch on the way? No, that's not the right way. You want to know what you're eating. You will not feel that you are full. Love what you eat, drink water, don't rush. Consider the source. What are you eating? From where have you obtained it? That's very important. Next, please. There is a very strong association between food and mood. I want you to carefully look to your right and left. So look at the smiley on the right. It's a happy picture. So when people are in good mood, they will generally opt for healthy foods like walnuts, almonds, emotionally balanced, less moody. You will feel more alert and active by eating this. But look on the other side. Look at the smiley, the mood. So when you are anxious, irritable, you will turn towards having more tea and more of coffee. When you are facing mood swings, you'll be rushing for all your colas, the soft drinks, the refined sugars, pastries, etc. And then when you're feeling low, feeling depressed, you will be opting for fatty, high calorie foods. There's a junk food. And you all know what happens when you take each one of this in excess. Next, please. So I want you to savor this slide. I want you to really understand and take this message with you today. So what is dopamine? I told you to remember two names. That's dopamine and serotonin. Dopamine is the chemical which is released when you complete a task. doing self-care, taking care of yourself, doing a yoga. So that doing some exercise, going for a walk. So, you reward yourself, and that's when dopamine is released. You're in a good mood, celebrating little wins. Serotonin, on the other hand, is a mood stabilizer. So we have to keep our mood stable. We cannot be having erratic mood swings. So meditating, running, sun exposure, walk in the nature, swimming, any kind of an activity works like a mood stabilizer. The love hormone, the oxytocin, playing with a dog, playing with a baby, holding hand, hugging your family, very important, giving a compliment. So this is expressing your love, which helps in releasing the good, feel good hormone, which is the oxytocin. And of course, you have the endorphin, which is the painkiller. Not to forget our laughter therapy. The laughter, when you laugh, endorphins are released, and that's where your aches and pains disappears. Very important. Watch a comedy. Every single day, you switch on to any comedy show and watch it. Have a dark chocolate. It is going to be functioning as a painkiller. So this is very important. Next. So regulation of appetite. Here again, the word serotonin is coming up. So tryptophan, which is an amino acid, is a precursor of serotonin. And let me tell you, it regulates and calorie intake. Depressed persons are found to have low levels of serotonin. So serotonin helps to maintain your moods. It also gives a feeling of fullness and regulates your calorie intake. Now, let me tell you, where do you obtain serotonin? Serotonin is found in protein-rich foods such as milk, yogurt, and nuts. Nuts, again, coming big way. Next. So what is the lifestyle modifications that you need to make, for protecting yourself and being healthy? So a healthy diet, and, you also need no smoking, stop smoking, that is, exercise regularly, getting adequate sleep, and of course, minimizing and learning to cope with stress. For that, tomorrow you have a session on resilience, where again, it is going to be reinforced. How do you minimize and cope with stress and develop your resilience? Next, please. So what is the take-home message? You have to follow the SMS. S is sanitization, M is masking, S is social distancing. So as we go ahead, this is going to be a mantra for times to come. So I'm sure, each one of you will be safe by following this and practice healthy diet and exercise regularly at home. Next. Healthy diet, the key word for nutritionist is variety. So we have to ensure that you have variety of foods in each group, variety of fresh, unprocessed foods. That is the mantra. And a varied diet. That means a combination of a lot of different kinds of fruits and vegetables. Don't be restrictive. Trying to tell you, do not be restrictive in your diet, but have a variety of foods so that you stay healthy. Next. Next. So I have next. I have jotted down a few sample diet menus, which you could just look and pay attention when you're looking at amla juice. Vitamin C comes in. Carrot, beet juice. You have your antioxidants. Then you have your smoothies with the fruits, milk with turmeric, ginger tea, tulsi tea, green tea, early in the morning. Breakfast can consist of oats, dalia, cornflakes. So brown bread, as you can see, scrambled eggs, sauteed vegetables, mixed dal chilla. So ensure that you meet your requirements for protein. Mid-morning, any citrus fruits. Lunch, simple home-cooked meal. Green chutney, again, the green colors of the fruits and vegetables. Afternoon, evening snacks. This is where I was focusing on. Ensure that you have your share of nuts and seeds. You know, in the good old days, what did we eat? Give children in the evening, chana dana. It's time that we also learn and follow this. So fistful of nuts, flax seeds, almonds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, very rich sources, amazing sources of vitamin E, which is also an anti-aging vitamin. Then dinner, again, light home cooked meal, a glass of warm milk, which will induce sleep because of the tryptophan which is present there. Okay, next. The recipe ideas, I have just explained to you all of this. Next. Thank you. So thank you once again all for your patient hearing. If there are any questions, I would be more than happy to address them.
Vanchika ma'am?
Yeah. Thank,
Yes.
yeah, thank you, Dr. Godia, for a wonderful, wonderful, and a very enriching talk. We do have quite a few questions for you, actually. The participants have posted some questions right here in the Zoom chat as well as on YouTube. So if it's okay, we can I ask you those questions? Can I go get those questions to you? Yeah, Dr. Godia, are you able to hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, yes, I'm hearing. So I think you can read out the questions and I would be answering
Sure,
them. So
sure,
that'll be
sure,
better. Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I think you have already spoken about how we can consume coconut oil or even having ginger, like some of the foods you've already spoken about. But there is one participant who would like to know about gingerly oil. Can gingerly oil be consumed and how
Yes.
beneficial is it?
Gingerly is still oil. As I told you that when you select your oil, you have to select oil from three categories. One is the MUFAR oil, the PUFAR oil, and the SFA. So when you're looking at the MUFAR oil and the PUFAR oil, the MUFAR oil is the olive oil. Okay. And then you have the PUFAR oil, which consists of olive oil, till oil, rice bran oil. These are high in MUFAR fats. And then you have the PUFA fat. The PUFA fat would be more in the cottonseed oil, of course, not available now, the safflower oil, the sunflower oil. This is the reason why today blends of oils are ready-made available in the market. And you need to have a oil which is containing omega-3 fatty acids. So in the good old days, remember we used to make achar in mustard oil. Mustard oil is a very good source of omega-3. So you need to get your omega-3 from mustard oil. So what I suggest, or as dietitians, what we suggest is that for every meal you use a different oil. For example, you're making an omelette, you use olive oil. You're making a salad, you can use an olive oil. When you're cooking your meal, you can use a mustard oil, your vegetable, because it will consume less oil. And then your dinner can be made with till oil, the rice bran oil, etc. So no one oil is good. Commenting on the butter and ghee, these are saturated fatty acids.
Mhm.
As we all know, if you consume extra of this, it is going to go and settle in the arteries and thereby lead to heart diseases. So saturated fat is also required, but the amounts are to be less. So it's just about 5 to 7 grams per day per person of saturated fat, whereas your MUFA can be 10 grams per day, which is 2 teaspoons. So all in all, it's like, 25 to 30 grams of oil per person per day, which is equal to 2 kilo of oil in a family for a month for one person. So that's the calculations that we advise. So when we do a counseling, we'll ask, kitna kilo oil kharidte ho aap? Kitne jane? So we come to know how much is the oil consumption actually, and how many
Right.
people are eating the food. So that way we come to know. So
Right.
25 to 30 grams visible oil. But today the trend is to emphasize more on nuts, which is the healthy kind of a fat. So even your groundnut oil, peanut oil, contains MUFA.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to select one oil from every category there.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Thank you so much. There is one more question. Since you have been talking a lot about consumption of prebiotic and probiotic the foods, what is exactly the difference between these two? Because I think most of us are familiar with
Yes.
probiotics.
Yes, so probiotics is what is there in your curds or fermented foods. When you make your idlis, when you set your curds, okay, so there is live microorganisms there. Now, these live microorganisms, when they enter the gut, they are beneficial. They are the gut-friendly microorganisms. So when we take antibiotics, all the microorganisms are washed out. But when you have your healthy microorganisms, you know, you can have healthy microorganisms by consuming more of fermented foods like curds, etc. Now, when you're looking at prebiotics is something which is not digested. Prebiotics can be considered as food, as food to the microorganisms. For example, when you have your chole, rajma, a part of the dietary fiber, the prebiotics, they are not digested. They remain undigested. They move in the colon. In the colon, they are acted upon by microorganisms and help in the survival of the good microorganisms. So you have the good microorganisms and the bad microorganisms. The good microorganisms are the lactobacilli. As you all know, the milk sugar is lactose. So when you ferment it, this lactose is getting converted to lactic acid. And lactic acid bacteria plays a role. So if you're a lactose intolerant, then you don't have the lactase enzyme. So when I'm looking at lactic acid bacteria, these are the beneficial bacteria and the bifidobacteria. And they help in mucin secretion, and therefore they protect the lining of the digestive tract. So your digestive tract integrity is there and you are less prone. So it binds with the receptors, thereby preventing the pathogens to adhere to the receptors at the GI tract, and thereby it prevents.
Yeah, thank you so much. Uh, I think all of us, in Mumbai at least, and now with this kind of stress, we are so much drawn towards the unmindful foods, as you have very rightly
Yes,
called them. But how can one avoid these? Because there are questions pertaining to this. But how can we avoid? Because the craving is
yes,
so strong that you're drawn towards it. So how do you avoid it?
yes. So, you have to calm your mind. I think we have to learn to associate that, when we are doing unmindful eating, it's because we are driven by stress, by anxiety, you're not feeling good. So what do? You distract yourself. So the most important thing which I tell everybody is ki up farsans and unhealthy foods ghar pe lao hi mat. Don't get it at home. So if it's not there, you will not have. Yes, you can enjoy it once in a while, but if you have ready options at home of healthy snacks, say a makhana, say some peanuts, say some chana, you would be obviously opting to have those rather than eating your samosas and fried batata vadas or, unhealthy snacks like cakes and pastries. Let me tell you, the cakes which we get are rich in saturated fats. It's good. It's high in sugars. So all your mithai also, it's got a lot of ghee, a lot of sugar. So one has to eat, but in limited amounts. I'm not saying that these are banned foods. We never ban the food, but yes, portion control, very important.
Right.
Treat yourself maybe once a week, two times in a week, but not every day.
Yeah, so it has to be taken like a treat, not like your regular
Yes,
food intake. Right,
yes,
right.
yes, yes. So
Um,
when you are on a diet, you say,
hmm.
today is my cheat day. So I tell them, don't say it's a cheat day, say it's a treat day. You're treating yourself, not cheating yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful way of looking at it. It's not a cheat day, but
Yeah,
a treat day. Yes, yes, yes.
exactly.
You have also recommended that consumption of citrus foods, which increases your vitamin C, and that helps you combat with the pathogen. But there is a question that some of us are allergic to citrus fruits. So then,
Allergic to citrus foods.
what is the
Yeah, so
substitute
you
for
can
that?
have sprouts, na? Yeah. If you're allergic to vitamin citrus fruits, okay, the healthy things which we have been doing all along traditionally is your matkis. We sprout it. Now, what happens during the sprouting process? Vitamin C is released, and they are very healthy source. If you know the origin of vitamin C, the sailors on the sea who did not get a supply of fresh fruits and vegetables got scurvy. Okay, and so when we talk about vitamin C, capsicum is a good source of vitamin C, and
Right.
capsicum is very good in thiamine as well, B complex vitamin. So capsicum, excellent source. So there are a lot of other sources. Use sprouts more regularly. We all use our amtis and usals and the usal pav, etc., which we enjoy is healthy. So
Yeah.
if you're on a weight loss, you avoid the pav. Just have the misal. So sprouting improves or increases vitamin C content, and that's how we maintain ourselves in lean seasons.
Right. Yeah. Actually, Dr. Godia, there are many, many questions which are I can see in the chat box. However, we are running behind time, and
Yes,
if with your permission, we may be able to send you these questions, and if you could
sure.
respond to them, we can always get back to our participants so that even they feel that the questions that they had have been answered. However, dear
Not
participants,
a problem.
we are very sorry that we can't take many questions because it's already 5:15 and we need to keep to our time. So taking
I
at
understand.
yeah. So on this note, Dr. Godi, I would really like to extend um a very, very, very lot of thanks to you because I think we are under so much of stress looking at this COVID situation, and one thing definitely that is affected is our food consumption. I think at this point, we really needed a person like you to come back and say, hey, go back to your very, very basic, something that you studied in your
Traditional
EVS,
diets.
something that you studied in your EVS or in your science, in your grade 2, 3, grade 5, that look at your balanced diet, understand what your food pyramid is like, and go back to all the traditional knowledge that we have had about what makes good food and what makes good eating. I think having also spoken about mindful and unmindful eating, you have actually spoken about the stress that we are going through and how we are trying to combat that stress through food, because food is comfort. Food increases your happiness hormones, and you just go back
Yes,
to it. However, knowing what to eat, what not to eat, similarly being able to focus on the very, very crucial populations that we have, be it those with obesity or those who are recovering from COVID, be it the pregnant women, the children, the geriatric population, because these are certain concerns that we've always had. Should the food be the same? Should there be a change in the diet? To what extent these diets have to change? And I think you have, in very, very crisp, very understandable language for most of us, being able to communicate that to us. Of course, there were many terms which were very high and they went all zoom over me, but I would.
you know what? I had some of my colleagues joining in, and I didn't want to have a very late presentations. I have used the KISS principle for presentation, so I have kept it as simple and sweet as possible.
Yes, so I think you would have done a
So
done a
I
wonderful
ran away
job.
from the difficult slides.
So you have been able to do a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful
I'm glad that
justice
you're
to everything
happy.
for lay people like us who don't understand any of these technical terms. To yes, your colleagues who are here to listen to all the technical terms, the right terms that you are going to be able to use. I think you have satisfied us a lot, and really thank you for spending so much of time and taking the effort to put in such an enriching presentation for all of us here. Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Godia.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Betty
I'm
ma'am,
glad
over
y'all
to
are
you.
all happy. Your smiles is telling a lot to me.
Yes, absolutely. There's
Everybody's smile
so
is
many thank
speaking a
yous
lot to
here.
me. Huh?
It,
Sorry?
there, that's there are many chats saying a very good session, very wonderful webinar.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so I think we as the
I'm glad.
organizers of these webinars are happy when our participants are happy. So thank you
Yes,
so much. Over to you,
yes,
Betty
yes.
ma'am.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Vanchika ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Godia, for that wonderful and
Thank you.
informative
Thank you
session.
so much. So if you need an advice, I'm a call away.
Oh, sure. Don't be surprised if you start receiving calls from just after this meeting is over.
Yes, for the moment, I think I'm going to be answering them on mail, right?
Yes, yes. We will forward
Sure, I'll do
all the
that.
questions on mail,
Yes,
and we can
yes,
forward
sure.
them to
I'll be
you.
more than happy to do that.
Sure, sure. Uh,
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. So thank you, participants, for being here today. And Dr. Ban, would you want to say something? Just a moment,
He's
ma'am.
mute.
Yeah,
He's mute.
I'm
yes.
at the mercy of these girls all the time. So I keep signing, unmute, unmute, and they think I'm saying thank you, thank you. Because that's a sign. That's a sign for thank you.
So
Dr. Meena,
your remote is with somebody else, huh,
yes,
Sujata?
absolutely. I have no power, no power.
No power. Your remote is with somebody
Absolutely,
else, huh?
absolutely. But I do
Your
want to
host
tell
is
you
having the
because,
remote.
yeah, no, but I
Your
do want
host, both
to
your hosts.
add one line that it was absolutely delightful, very good presentation, very useful, and a person like me who's absolutely mindless, not at all mindful. I, binge on the farsans. Now today, after listening to you, I'm hammering myself that I better stop eating the farsans and eat the right food, because this is a crucial time and food is so important right now. But due to stress, we tend to, overdo our farsans and all the wrong food. But yeah, again, thank you for hammering into my head, which you keep doing all the time.
See, there
But
are certain days all of us go through it, it's not something, but we have to be a little more conscious and aware,
yes,
and take care of ourselves.
yes, absolutely. And there are many, many questions because the topic is such, everybody wants to be very careful about what they eat, how they eat.
Yes,
So I'm
they
sure that
should
you
be.
will be able to answer them all,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we
I
will
will.
not
I
be
will.
left unsatisfied. Yeah. Yeah, so participants, we will definitely forward your questions. And I
Yes.
know for a fact that Dr. Meena will definitely revert and give you your answers to your satisfaction. So thank you to all the participants, and thank you, Dr. Meena and all my team. Thank you very, very much.
Bye.
Thank
One
you,
second.
everybody.
Bye. Bye.
Do
Dr.
her
Godia, ma'am,
photograph.
please wait. We'd
Yes,
like to
yes,
take a group
Oh, okay.
photograph.
yes.
Requesting everyone to please switch on their cameras. Yukti, ma'am, please do the honors.
This is a good idea. We never did it in our webinars.
See, you also go with some learning from ours.
Yes. I like this idea.
Yeah.
Super.
Could we have everyone switching on their cameras, please? Dr. Shanti, Baiju Thomas, Nidhi Mangal, Unati, Anjali Kumari.
So do we say cheese or paneer?
Healthy, both are healthy.
Just cottage
Both are
cheese.
healthy. Cottage cheese, yeah. Okay.
Yukti, ma'am, are we done? All right, great. So
she's
thank you,
done.
Yukti, ma'am. Thank you,
Yukti, yeah.
Dr. Godia, ma'am.
Thanks, Yukti.
Thank you, Panchika,
Send
ma'am.
it to me.
On Friday, we have Dr. Harish Shetty. Betty, please announce.
Yes, ma'am, I'm coming to that.
Yes.
Thank you to all the participants for being here and being a part of this webinar. Just to let you know, like ma'am said, on Friday, we have Dr. Harish Shetty, who will be the resource person for the webinar, his talk being Respond with Resilience. Please note the time for the webinar will be 5 o'clock and not 4 o'clock as usual.
Yes, yes.
So do join at 5. The registration is open. As of now, it will be closed by tomorrow evening, rather tomorrow late night. So kindly make sure that you enroll yourself for the talk. The feedback links have been set out. You would receive them in the emails. Please be aware, only those participants who have registered for the webinar through the Google Forms will receive the feedback links. Kindly fill the links and submit them. Ensure that your details are entered correctly. We we're getting a lot of emails that are being entered incorrectly. So there is a lot of bounce back that happens. So kindly double check your emails before you send them, before you hit the submit button. And please do give us 3 to 4 working days to send you these certificates. There's a limit to the number of certificates we can process and send on each day. So on that note, thank you, everybody. We look forward to seeing you on Friday at 5 p.m. sharp. Bye-bye.
Okay, we'll see you
Thank
on
you.
Friday.
Stay safe. It's raining
Bye.
really heavily.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Bye.
अब इसको फोन करो भाई